Nobody really eats poo. Children dabble in it momentarily, testing its culinary and aesthetic aspects. I did hear about recipes for poo that became a niche delicacy for Japanese nightclubs. Highly paid women would eat what the recipe book told them for a day or two, perhaps even a week for the truly complex. Then, delivered on glass tables, their poo would be part of an erotic public display, sliced thin as cheese and put on crackers. But there's not been a single company daring enough, in the United States at least, to package poo with health benefits and slap fancy marketing on it. I did hear about this Japanese scientist Mitsuyuki Ikeda, who could somehow process poo in order to get the undigested bits out and turn it into something indistinguishable from a dark lunch meat. But that to me seems more like alchemy than really being poo. It's turning one thing into another. It's not really it. All the water we drink was once urine, but it's not urine when we drink it. The freshest air you inhale has been in the gassiest of bellies. It's been farted out of poopy butts. So, there is also the odd person, or couple, I guess, who as a sexual fetish poop on each other. But I'm not sure how much this is about digestion rather than just distraction and entertainment. It's not a regular part of a diet. So with these few exceptions, not eating poo is a much more followed practice than any of the commandments given by any god. It's much more strictly adhered to. It's almost as if there were a commandment given by all the popular gods that thou shalt not eat poo. And this kind of thing always makes me very suspicious. For some reason, the idea of a commandment seems like it should be more arbitrary in some way. I can't seem to grasp why the commandments seem always to focus on rules that people have trouble following. They all focus on these gray areas, but I would be much more convinced if there were some arbitrary commandments thrown in that everyone follows anyway. That would make it more real. Like thou should never breathe water, or thou shalt never jump on cacti. You'd be able to spot the rebels immediately. And the commandments of physics, they seem kind of arbitrary in that way. It's hard to break them, though, even though we try so hard. But I guess I'm not the only one that's thought about things like this. I stumbled across a saying a few weeks ago that follows this line of thought and actually does it a lot better. It's a Yaruba riddle. So the Yaruba, they're a group of people, about 35 million, who live in Nigeria and Benin in Africa. They're responsible for black-eyed peas and gumbo. And anyway, they have this riddle which asks, I'll read it here, what God requires a sacrifice of all men, women, and children 3 times a day? I'll do that once more. What God requires a sacrifice of all men, women, and children 3 times a day? And this is exactly my point.